Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I may not seem my normal cheery self, and that's because I have to mentally prepare for this video. I actually have been meaning to make this video. It's January 19th, and this should have been done either the day before, the day of, or the day after January 5th, 2019. You're probably wondering, well, obviously if you're clicking this video, you already saw the title. So you're probably wondering why I didn't do it. And not only was life a little hectic those couple of days, gearing up to the spring semester, which started that Monday, the 7th, but I thought I would be ready. Like I really thought, you know, obviously I kicked off my YouTube channel a few weeks ago, and I mentioned that I would be most likely sharing my story, and I just didn't do it. And it's been something that's been on my mind, and I've been wanting to do the video, but I just hadn't found the right moment, I guess. It just was one of those type of videos that you don't just throw together. It's time. I mean, he deserves it, and it's time. So here I am. I'm gonna be open and kind of just share with you what happened. But I was looking through YouTube stories, like other posts about miscarriage and such, and I did come across two stories. One in particular, I commented on our page right away. We've actually become each other's followers or subscribers. Sorry guys, I'm new to this stuff, but subscribers. And amazing story, amazing journey that she's gone, and amazing mom. I mean, just learning her story and the struggles that she still to this day faces with her little ones. But I'm not sure if I have the authorization or would have her respects in shouting her out, so I haven't yet. But if she authorizes this, she'll know who I'm talking about, and if she's okay with it, I'll link her in the description after I post it. I'll just edit it and add her in. But so you guys, for anybody that's obviously going through what we're going through, that would be interested in learning about other folks going through similar situations, can follow and hear her story as well. I also toyed with this idea because obviously I am new to my channel, and I don't want this to come off as, oh, she's just posting a video for followers. It's not that at all. Which is why, another reason why I've held off, because I don't want this to be about, oh, I'm just here for the followers or the views or whatever. We all have a goal. Obviously, if you have a YouTube, if you're wanting to make it on YouTube, I'm not here knowing that I'm gonna make it. I have a normal 9 to 5. I'm going to school, obviously, to do big things. It'd be nice because I would like to be able to share my story and have it reach many women that may not talk about it. But I don't want this to be that type of thing. This isn't about, I'm here for the views. It's not, you guys. I'm not making this up. I got receipts. You'll see what I'm talking about. So now that I've given that disclaimer, I'm gonna go into my story. And if you guys are going through this, it's not about liking because you like what I went through. I won't take it that way. It won't be disrespectful. But if this touches you, or if you're going through something, feel free to like it. Feel free to reach out to me. Comment if you want to message me. I want to be someone's support. And since day one, I've always talked about this. In fact, when I first started talking about this, Facebook was new. This happened after MySpace. Yeah, guys, MySpace. After that, I had just jumped on Facebook. And at the time, it's crazy because YouTube wasn't really a thing, I don't think, then. And I would literally look up blogs or Google like 18-week infant loss, and I came across a couple of folks, but it was nothing like this where you can actually comment and know they're gonna respond right away. Where in the back of the day, I feel like they would post stuff, but then there was really no follow-up. It's not like there was that active engagement, so I never really got close to anyone that way. I did, however, share my story on Facebook, and honestly, I can't even remember how, but I have made a long-term friendship, although she doesn't live here locally anymore. But I did meet one gal that had recently lost her baby girl, and we just both connected. She reached out to me, loved her the second I met her, and we've just kept in touch. And it was my own little way, my own little self-made group support, really. And I'll get into, in my story, you'll learn about another person that I actually met through this process. She was just like my guardian angel. You guys, it's been such a fun and happy day, and I don't want to sap you up my afternoon because it was a great day, but I know, like, again, this is something that I've been meaning to put out and wanting to put out. I didn't think I would get emotional because it's been such a fun day, but I feel it. I feel it coming on. So I'm an emotional person. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not shy about that. Anyway, so I got my little cloth rag here just in case, you know, but I'm ready. I'm 5 minutes in. I'm already talking too much, so I'm ready for the story. So anyway, so here we go. Disclaimer, I won't really say that it's going to be too graphic. I will share a picture too, but it's nothing that it's like blood and guts or anything, guys, so don't worry about that. My story pretty much goes like this. I have, it's not a secret, I have 4 kids, living healthy kids. So again, you know, it's one of those things where you're married, you know, you may not necessarily want to get pregnant right away, but you're not really doing anything to prevent it either. And we find out yet again we're pregnant. So I'm thinking, I told my husband, oh my gosh, like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know if we can afford this, but of course, like he said, we'll figure it out. There's nothing you can do but figure it out. All I could think was, this better be my girl, because I'm done after this. Like, I can't have 5 kids. Like, that's it. Like, we're done. And so here we went. You know, pregnancy, everything's checking out good. I've never had any miscarriages before, never had any inkling of it, anything happening. So fast forward to, you know, we get our date. Like, guess what? You guys are going to find out what the baby, it actually would have been right around this time. I think it was January 20th of 2009 is when we were supposed to find out what we were going to have, whether it was going to be a boy or girl. Of course, I wanted girl, right? So we have New Year's, everything's fine, everybody's happy. Happy New Year, it's 2009, it's gonna be a great year, it's gonna be my girl, like, girl, go girl, right? Everybody's thinking girl. And a couple of days passed by, and it was actually January 4th, that was on a Sunday. And I remember my husband saying, hey, you know, what's for dinner? And I was like, I don't know, let's just go wherever. It was one of those lazy Sundays, you just want to eat out or whatever. So we went to Burger King, we ordered, I ate like I was pregnant. I had me a big, not Big Mac, sorry, Burger King, a Whopper with cheese with my fries. I know I had to have had an apple pie because I love Burger King apple pies. Probably a soda, whatever, right? So I have my dinner, and it was late. I want to say we probably had dinner maybe about like 8. It was just one of those like lazy Sundays, right? It's cold outside, just want to go home. I remember just being relaxed, just eating and just being merry. So then, you know, of course it was time to go to bed, and my husband goes, he's always like, he falls asleep stat. And so I'm in bed in the room. I'm just kind of like, you know, like, I probably woke up, I want to say it was like either 10 or midnight, it was somewhere around there, and I just remember waking up like, you know, just like, oh man, I have these pains, like cramp, like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. You know, I just thought, honestly, like this was bad gas or bad whatever, because you just ate this big, excuse my French, you guys, but you just ate this big ass Whopper, big ass meal, hella late at night, and now you're gonna sit here and go to sleep? Like, the baby's probably like, what is happening? So I just knew, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be the boy who cried wolf and like, oh, you know, I don't feel good. And then you go to the doctor's or emergency room, obviously, because it's late night. You go to the so then the night kept going, and the night just kept on every hour, and the pain was still there, and I was still uncomfortable. Then I started thinking, what if it's not that? What if it's a miscarriage? What if I'm going through something, like, and I haven't done anything? Like, you start stressing out. And I thought, let me call Kaiser, which is my care provider. So I contacted, they have like their urgent care after hours nurse, and they're asking me, you know, are you showing, is there a bloody show? Like, did you lose your mucus plug? And I'm like, no, I'm only like 17. I was going on 18 weeks that day. Matter of fact, we had our scheduled gender, you know, where you find out the gender ultrasound scheduled for like January 20th. It would have been like right around, like literally 10 years ago today. It was right around the time we would have been finding out. And oh, that's special. I guess that could be a reason why I'm doing this video. But it was one of those things, like, we had like no reason to think why this would be, or I didn't think that this would be a miscarriage, because I'd never had one before. So even the nurse looked at that, and she's like, you know, I think it could just be that it's stomach pain, maybe an ulcer, something that's related to being pregnant, maybe even heartburn. Why don't you go ahead, try to take a shower. If the pain's okay, just take a shower, try to get comfortable. And if you give us a call back after 6 a.m., you can make an appointment and come in. Back in my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't want to make an appointment because I have to be at work. Like, there's no way, it's going to be so busy. I have to be at work tomorrow. But I also knew that, okay, but if it's not better, maybe I can go in a few hours and still make an appointment, right? You know, okay, I'll do that. Let me just try to get comfortable. And just because I didn't want to wake my husband with all the tossing and turning, I decided I'm going to go lay in the living room on the couch. So I did that, and I remember finally just like dozing off and just not thinking of the pain. I just fell asleep. All of a sudden, I just wake up like, oh my gosh, I have all this pain and I have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, finally, like, I have to go to the bathroom, because I hadn't gone to the bathroom up until that point. So I really thought it was really a bad stomach ache. So I go, you know, to the our hallway restroom at the time, and I sit down, and right as I went to, you know, create a bowel movement, to be correct, medically correct, I felt a pressure that was like no other pressure I've felt before. In a sense, like going to the restroom, I'd never felt this before. It was like a different kind of push, and it was almost like a hollow feeling, like oh, like that's not normal. And something told me just to look back, and when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just like the whole toilet bowl was blood. And that's when I just knew. I was like, babe. And luckily my brother, he's 7 years younger than me, so he was like in his teenage years at the time. I just remember thinking, thank goodness, because I have to go to the hospital and my other kids are home, so they could stay with him. And I just remember screaming, babe. And I hear my master bedroom. Our house was smaller and it was only one story. And so I hear my master bedroom door just fling open to the point. And my husband comes, like, he's half awake. He's like, what, babe? What, babe? It's almost like maybe he already knew. Like, he knew I wasn't in bed. He knew I was tossing and turning. Like, he already knew. It was just that, like, you just know, you know. He came running and he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, babe, I need to go to the hospital. Call 911. Call 911. I'm bleeding. So he calls 911, and I'm just like, I need to go put on some clothes. Because, you know, they're going to come. And my brother wakes up like, what's going on? And my husband's like, you need to stay here with the kids. Please just stay here tomorrow. Don't even worry about it. Like, we'll call the school. Like, you won't go. Like, you can just stay here with the kids. Ambulance show up quick, and they instantly come in. And I'm literally in labor. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please, I have to go. I have to go. I have to go to the hospital. So they strap me up, they grab my blanket, everything, or they left, I don't even remember. I just remember them strapping me in, putting me in the gurney, and putting me in the ambulance, and my husband saying, I'll follow behind because we need a car to get home. So they're like, okay. And so here we are. They're just like asking me all these questions. They're pricking me. They're checking me, blood pressure, all this stuff. And I just remember stopping at the stop signs. And I'm thinking, this is an emergency. Can we like rush through these stop signs? I mean, it's 5:30 in the morning. There's nobody out here. Just go. I was in so much pain, and they're just like, oh, I just remember holding the blanket. I believe I did still have my blanket or their blanket, whatever it was. I just remember holding it like I'm trying to hold like any blood from coming out. And they're like, oh, are you, you know what? And I tell them I'm pregnant, like I think I'm having a miscarriage. And they're like, how many weeks? I'm like 18. They're like, oh, that's, you know, that's not your normal miscarriage. You know, it's like normally you're good by this 18 weeks. So I'm like stressing out, like I just need to get to the hospital, like somebody needs to help me. So finally we get to the hospital, and I'm brought into the emergency. And you know, the first thing is, oh, well, let's do an ultrasound. So when I tell you that this isn't priority in the ED department, like I'm not trying to knock anybody, but really it wasn't, because you know, the doctor finally comes in and he's like busts out the ultrasound machine, and I could tell he's not familiar with it. He's you know, he's going through, he's trying to, and it's almost like he's not familiar, or he wasn't familiar at the time and looking for a heartbeat, because I can tell you that he like rubbed over it and he's like, oh yeah, no heartbeat. Yeah, you're having a miscarriage. Just like that. No sense of empathy, nothing, no filter, just that's it, sorry. My husband wasn't even in there with me yet, okay? He was literally parking, trying to, you know, manage to get himself back there so that obviously they don't just let anybody back in the ED department. So they're like, oh. So when he finally comes up to me, by this point the doctor had already told me, and I'm just looking at him like, I'm in shock. I'm like, we're having a miscarriage. It's like I already knew, but I didn't expect them to be so blunt. And so at that point, everything just kind of like zoned out. And I just remember them saying, I heard them talking like, well, she's 18 weeks. Do you want to take her up to L&D? Is there room for an L&D? And I just remember thinking, what the hell is L&D? And obviously it's labor and delivery. But at the time, I'm just like, I don't know what they're talking about. Like, where are they sending me? So that's when it dawned on me, oh, L&D is labor and delivery. And then somebody else came in, one of the nurses, they said, we're going to take you up to labor and delivery. There's a room, and they, you know, they can go through the process with you. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, do you want any pain medication? You know, we can give you morphine. Normally when you're pregnant, I believe they said they can't give you morphine, and I'm not a medical expert, so I don't recall, but I can tell you that I just told them, at this point, I don't care. I'm not having this baby, obviously. Give me whatever, because I don't think I should be in pain if it's not even going to be worth it. And so they're like, okay. And so they injected the morphine or whatever they gave me to kill the pain. And so by the time we get to the labor and delivery room, I just remember them just carting me into this like super back corner room that had like a room and then the room. So it's almost like a special room where they keep people, especially those, now that I realize, going through this. And so that way they're away, you know, from what's happening in the other rooms. And obviously I get it, you know, you don't want to be around happy-go-lucky, oh, I just had my new baby and here you are mourning, right? So they bring me in this room, and by this point my parents they're there. And I just remember just laying there like in a complete like, just like, that's it. Like nothing can be done. So suddenly, I'll tell you guys, this is the part where it was like, this is where I normally start to sort of lose it. So I'm going to try to avoid crying, but I don't know if I can do it. So the doctor comes in. This is another doctor actually that works in L&D. Comes in and brings out the ultrasound machine and does, you know, the normal process of checking for a heartbeat. Checks for the heartbeat, you guys, and he says, did the emergency room tell you that there's no heartbeat? And I said, yeah. They said that there's nothing there. And he's like, I'm picking up on a heartbeat. And I felt this sudden little glimmer of hope. And I'm like, oh, you know, like this can actually be saved. The baby can be saved. And then he's like, okay, well, let's just check you. Let's see. And when he checks me, he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, you're already too far along, dilated. There's nothing we can do to stop it. And I just remember thinking, what? Like, are you telling me that there could have been hope? Like, what if he would have, like, if he would have noticed that there was a heartbeat, would that have made him move quicker? Like, would they have been able to check me to the point where they could have, I don't know, I know this isn't proper terms, but sewed me up to where I'd have to be on bed rest? Like, what do you mean? And so he's like, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to deliver this baby. And I'm like, yeah, but what's gonna happen? Like, can the baby survive like at 18 weeks? And they're like, usually at 20, but at 18 weeks there's just nothing. And I'm thinking, that's only 2 weeks difference, but that just makes you realize how much 2 weeks is a big important thing when you're pregnant. That's how rapid these things happen, like in your developing of your baby. And for him to say, no, there's nothing we can do, you're just gonna have to deliver the baby. And then that's when he hits me with, he or she may only survive seconds, if that. And that's just when I just felt like the punch in my face, in my heart, in my hole. And I just thought, wow, like, there's nothing we can do. So I just remember saying, you just gotta kind of go through the motions and wait and see what happens. And, not see what happens. We know what's gonna happen, but just let us know when you feel like you have to push. And so a little while later, I just remember my mom just crying next to me and just saying it's gonna be okay. God does things for a reason. He knows why. Maybe something was wrong with the baby. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. It's not fair. Like, I've never gone through a miscarriage. Like, what's happening? And then the time came where it hit. Like, it was time. And my body it's crazy. Like, your body rejects. And so I went in and they said, okay, we're just gonna push one small push. You don't have to do anything crazy. They knew I had kids already, so they're like, you don't have to go through the normal like labor. He's so little. And yeah, so I pushed, and literally within one push, my mom says she just saw him come out with the amniotic, the placenta, and she said it just looks like he moved a little bit, and then that was it. There he was lifeless. And so they came in and, they took him right away, and they basically, took care of the placenta. They had to clean me out just like a normal delivery. And they asked me, are you going to want to see him? And I said, of course I want to see him. And so later on they came and they brought him, and he was like this small literally could fit in my 2 hands. And I just remember looking at him and just thinking, oh my gosh, like how much he looked like my second son. He had the long fingers, the long little toes. Basically, he would have looked like me. He has, a little big head because he was still like so little. And I just remember just crying and telling my husband, like, we can't just, like, what do you guys do? And so legally at 20 weeks, you have to dispose of the body in a legal, like actual, whether it's a cremation or a burial. But anything before that, they're like, you can just not toss it, but basically you send it to the pathology, and then they just, I think that's the department, and then they just dispose of the little body. And so I thought, there is no way that I'm just letting them take this like it's garbage and his little corpse and just dispose of him like that. And so I said, no, we're gonna give him a proper, even if it's not like an actual service, we're gonna do what we need to do as parents to feel right. So we were able to keep him for a couple days, couple hours before they did warn me that he would start turning color because he doesn't have the circulation, obviously. But they wrapped him in this cute little blanket. They put his cute little hat on him, and we just held him in our arms and cried, and we definitely didn't keep it a secret. His brothers came over, my aunt came, my parents were there, my grandmother came later on in the day. Everybody was just sad, and just couldn't understand it. So it's so surreal. But yeah, so he was born on January 5th, 2009. And the reason why I wanted this video is because it's his 10th year. So at the end of the video, I will include his birthday celebration. One thing that I do want to share is that every single year, we have always done a birthday party. Not birthday party, but a birthday celebration, even if it's just me and my kids. We've got him a cake every year. Every year we sing happy birthday. He's still very much our baby, their brother. I have my rainbow baby. You know, they say God does things for a reason. God makes things happen. He knows why. He may know that I was done. I wasn't gonna have that little girl that God destined for me to have. And so maybe he felt that, you know, Angel was too good to be on this earth. Angel was an angel. And sorry guys, I didn't share. So we named him Angel Rudy, and the reason why Rudy is because he looked like my son Rudy. So we named him Angel Rudy, and he was born January 5th, 2009. And this was at 9:52 a.m. and he was 9 inches long. And so as I said, fast forward to 2011, I did give birth to my daughter. So she's my rainbow baby. And I always said that I feel like there's something that is in her that is his. Her middle name is Angelina, which so conveniently worked out. It was either going to be Angelique or Angelina, but I definitely wanted the angel to be in her name. And Angelina also is Lady Gaga's, part of Lady Gaga's legal name, her middle name. So that was very special. Going back to the whole Lady Gaga love. But I want to share with you guys my little care kit that I was able to bring home. So here's a balloon that we had got. It was a little get well balloon. I won't like totally open it. I don't want it to get all big again. But so this is what we have of his, and we keep this in our little curio cabinet in the living room every day. So he's very much with us. We have gotten lectured by certain family members because they feel that when a baby is born and deceased, it should be buried, but we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to just leave him somewhere. He will eventually get buried with either myself or my husband. Whoever passes away first, we have said we will bury him with us. But for right now, he's our family. We keep him home. Like, this is our baby. We do what we please. So if others don't agree with it, sorry, but he's our baby. And so if you're wondering, we did decide to cremate him. My work pulled together, I tell you, it literally like family. Like, we got all these donations and we were able to afford a proper little cremation for him. I'll show him to you guys in just a second. But like I said, he's our baby. And so once I felt the time was right, which was about a month later, we did a service in our home where we had the priest come and bless him, and did a little brief little service in our household. So just to bless him, his ashes in the home. And everyone that was there to support that wanted to was welcome, and they did. They came through. So our little house was packed, but I mean, we just appreciated so much the support. So anyways, this video is getting to be really long, but I didn't want to like discount any of the information either. And so I really quickly want to come on here and share with you guys his little package. So these here are his ultrasounds when we first found out that we were pregnant. So this was November 4th of 2008 when we did our first little ultrasound with of him, I should say. This was like our first official where we find out about our little baby. You can see his little peanut in there. Gosh, I haven't looked at these in so long. This was his cute little hand. Now look how little this is. I remember his little head fitting perfectly. So if you think about it, you're holding the baby. That's how big. So little. Cute little baby. I'll show you guys how big this box is. This is what we got at the hospital. And so in it, we have all his little things. These are his little footprints. See his little hands? How little, but long. Look how long his fingers were. And his little toes. cute. And this was all his information when he was born. And so this was his little like gown. It was just a little quick. It's like literally like a small little baby doll. Like in here I have all my cards and everything. I have like from our flowers. My in-laws had ordered him a little thing that said our beloved grandson. So that was for the floral arrangement we did for his service. And inside of here, you guys, just so you get an idea, I'm not going to go through these obviously, but all of these are his cards that we were given from family and friends. Like, look at this. Just cards upon cards and just comforting words and just memories, you know. I also have our little Kaiser. This one, he was so little, they didn't really actually put it on him, but they still gave it to us. And then, of course, my, you know, my actual band. And finally, last and certainly not least, his little pictures. So this also had a little heart. This was his little heart that they gave us. But these are little pictures of my little baby boy. Look how he was already so dark right here. And it's funny because this picture looks like he was dark, but I remember taking it and he wasn't really that dark in person. Just the picture came out like that. You can see his little fingers, how long. This is so surreal. Like, I still cannot believe I went through this. Like, he is my reason. It's all like a bad dream just talking about it, you know? And I have this little case thing. I forgot to bring it up for my video, but it's actually in our curio cabinet. We have a little teddy bear on top of it. He's the reason I went back to school, you guys, and I mentioned this in my school video, but he's why I had to do something. He's my purpose, and he's the reason I've continued to remain this strong and not give up, because I've wanted to give up a couple times, but him and my other kids, of course, but my legacy is gonna be for him. He may not be here in person, but he's very much with me in my heart and in all of our hearts, really. But this little boy in that picture. Alright, I really need to make this quick because my video storage is just crazy right now on my phone, and yeah. So, but to wrap things up, we keep all his little belongings here in his curio, and oh, I forgot to put his pictures. I'll put those back. But I want to introduce you guys to my baby boy, Angel Rudy Rodriguez. So this is him. Here he is, my little baby. I actually, when we got this, I had to open this up to make sure he's really in there. He's so it's so little in there. We actually put his rosary in there as well, and my husband tattooed this image on his arm. Like, it's like probably takes up the whole side of his arm, so it's actually pretty big. But this is our baby. Will always remain our little son. Fortunately, we had a healthy pregnancy with my daughter, but pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's my story, and so it just goes to show that this can happen to anybody, and it's scary. It's definitely a taboo. Not many people talk about this, and that's why I wanted to come on here and share my story. This will be a very long video, but I really hope that those watching have stayed to the end to really truly understand what it's like, and just to know that we're all here to support each other. You know, one thing about women empowerment and that having gone to that walk today is that we're all on this journey together. let's stop hating on each other so much, and let's love on each other. Like, let's empower each other. Let's be those people. Let's be those ones that do what they got to do to make this world go around. And at the end of the day, we got to be here. We're the reason why there's still people on this earth. We're here to reproduce. But then, unfortunately, those things do happen. And when those things happen, we need to be here to uplift each other. And know that if you have ever gone through this, or if you're going through this, you're hurting. I could not in the past talk about this without breaking down. At that moment when I talked about that little moment of hope, I would stop and just break down. It's gotten easier over the years. It's been 10 years, but it doesn't mean I've forgotten. So that's why I wanted to come on here and share my story. This isn't about the likes or the views or the glamour of YouTube. This is real. This is reality. Women are going through this. Somebody out there is going through this right now. And the one last thing I almost forgot before. I hope my video doesn't cut off, but during my stay at the hospital, I had the most amazing nurse. I even brought her a card and just saying thank you for all the support. I remember her telling me, I've never gone through this, but I feel for you and I feel your pain, and I just want you to know that I'm here to help you. And let me tell you that when things happen for a reason, how the stars align. Good friend was pregnant during the same time that I was, so her baby was born around the time I would have had my son. And I went to her baby shower. Not that I didn't want to go to support her, I wasn't sure how I would handle it, so I really wasn't excited to go, but I didn't want to not go because I didn't want to be selfish, right? So I went. I was already kind of in my feelings, just knowing that this could have been me right now. And I remember this lady being in the group, and I looked and I'm like, gosh, it dawned on me, and I told my friend next to me, that is my nurse that I had this January when I was in the hospital. Of course, she wouldn't recognize me because I had makeup and I was all done up, but I was just so shocked at how small the world is. I went up to her and I was like, excuse me, do you work at Kaiser? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, guys. So anyways, so she happened to know my good friend, and so we kept in touch through Facebook, and she would, check up on me from time to time, and she actually became good friends with my other friend that I had met due to, having lost her baby as well. And only to find out that a year later, she experienced the same, very similar to what we did, situation, and miscarried on her pregnancy. So that would have been, I want to say, in 2010. And so to think that the very person that had never gone through this before, treated me so well, experienced this herself after having had her own children, healthy pregnancies before, to experience that was just mind-boggling. We were meant to meet. We were meant to know each other because we were here to support each other. That's when it all became so evident, full circle for me, completely. And so fast forward. So as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted with this, your videos are full, or memories full. So just saying, the fact that we all became friends and we've all been able to support each other. So yeah, Kaiser does this little in memory of your baby dove release every year, and so we've actually kept in touch through that. And we just keep in touch just to check in on each other and to just remain strong and just, make sure that everything's going well in life. And so it's been really nice and a nice way to know that our babies essentially brought us all together. Okay guys, so sorry, I'm gonna have to cut my video short at this point because I keep getting the alert that my memory's full on my phone. But I just once again want to say thank you so much for listening in and listening to my story. If you're interested, like I said, please like, share, subscribe, and definitely comment, especially if you're interested in making our own little YouTube support group. I'm more than happy to help anybody that might be going through it and just want to hear, you know, some uplifting words. So again, thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and much love to all of our little baby angels up in heaven that are watching over us. Bye.